the towels. "I'm Amanda," the taller one said, wrapping herself gratefully. "This is my sister, Samantha. We can't thank you enough. We thought we'd have to sleep in the car." Jake nodded toward the storm outside. Cedar Avenue's no place to be stranded at night. You did the right thing leaving the car. But even as he said it, his eyes caught the details that didn't fit. The gowns the twins wore, though wet, were clearly designer. The leather boots, the coats, none of it looked like clothing someone bought at the local outlet. These weren't girls from around here. Still, he pushed the thought aside. They were frightened, drenched, and in need. That was enough. "The phone's in the kitchen," Jake offered. Amanda tried it, but after several attempts, she lowered the receiver with frustration. "The lines are out, too." Jake felt that tug in his chest again, the instinct that had once driven him to sacrifice everything for his family. He couldn't send them back out there. "Look," he said, rubbing the back of his neck. "This storm isn't letting up tonight. You're welcome to stay here until morning." The sisters exchanged uncertain glances. Trusting a stranger wasn't easy, but the alternative, wandering the streets or sitting in a dead car all night, was far worse. "We don't want to impose," Samantha said, her voice soft but cultured in a way that revealed a privileged background. "You're not imposing," Jake assured them. "The couch pulls out into a bed. It's not luxury, but it's dry. And tomorrow we'll figure out your car." For the first time, they smiled, and that smile filled Jake's lonely house with something it hadn't held in years: warmth. As he fetched sheets and blankets, conversation flowed more naturally. The twins asked about his work, his life. Usually Jake avoided such topics, but there was something disarming about their genuine interest. For the first time in years, he opened up. "I used to be an architect," he said while making them hot chocolate with his last bit of cocoa powder. "Had my own firm once. Now, just odd drafting jobs when I can find them." "What happened?" Amanda asked gently. Jake hesitated, then sighed. "Divorce. Business failure. Sold everything to pay lawyers. My kids live with their mom now in Oregon." His voice cracked. "I only see them summers, some holidays if I can afford it." The twins listened quietly, their faces softening with compassion. "That must be so hard," Samantha whispered. Jake nodded, blinking back tears. "I call them when I can. Tell bedtime stories over the phone. But it's not the same. I missed everything." The room was silent, except for the storm outside. "You know what's remarkable?" Amanda finally said. "You're still fighting for them. You didn't give up." "They're my whole world," Jake said simply. That night, his house wasn't empty. The quiet hum of conversation, the soft sound of laughter, the presence of other souls, it filled the void that had haunted him since his family left. For the first time in months, Jake slept without loneliness pressing down on him. The storm had not eased when morning came. Rain still drummed against the window panes, though softer now, like the sky itself was exhausted from the night's fury. Jake woke to the faint smell of coffee. He had set the old machine to brew before falling asleep on the recliner. For a moment, he thought the previous night had been a dream. But when he opened his eyes and saw Amanda and Samantha in his kitchen, wrapped in his oversized flannel shirts, softly talking as they sipped from chipped mugs, reality washed over him. They looked so different in the daylight. Their faces, once pale and frightened, now carried a glow of calm. Their eyes still held that haunting depth, but there was also something else: gratitude. Jake cleared his throat, embarrassed by the state of his small kitchen. "Morning. Coffee's terrible, but it's all I've got." Amanda smiled warmly. "It's perfect. After last night, anything warm is a gift." He joined them at the table, sipping in silence at first. Then Samantha said softly, "Jake, you didn't have to help us. Most people didn't. But you opened your home without asking for anything. That means more than you realize." Jake shrugged. Anyone would have done the same. But he knew that wasn't true. Most doors had stayed closed to them. Most people looked away. He had chosen differently, though not out of heroism, simply out of memory, out of imagining his own children in their place. After breakfast, Jake grabbed his old jacket and tool set. "Let's see if we can get your car running," he said. The twins followed him down the slick, muddy street. Their car, a sleek black sedan, was parked crookedly at the curb, its hazard lights still blinking. One glance told Jake it wasn't the kind of car you normally saw in this part of town. Too expensive, too polished. Under the hood, the problem was obvious. The battery was dead. "We'll need a jump," Jake muttered, already pulling cables from his toolbox. With his rusty pickup as donor, the engine roared back to life in minutes. Relief lit up the twins' faces. They looked at Jake as if he performed a miracle. "You really saved us," Amanda said, her voice thick with emotion. "It was nothing," Jake said, wiping grease from his hands. "Just glad you're safe." But then something unexpected happened. Instead of leaving immediately, the twins hesitated. They whispered each other, as if deciding something important. Finally, Samantha turned to Jake. "We haven't been honest with you," she said. Jake's chest tightened. He waited. "Our father, he's not just anyone," Amanda continued. "He's Richard Callahan." The name struck Jake like thunder. Richard Callahan, the billionaire investor, the tycoon who owned half the real estate downtown. His face was often in newspapers, always tied to words like fortune, empire, power. Jake blinked in disbelief. "That Richard Callahan?" The twins nodded. "Yes. We didn't want to say anything last night because, well, people treat us differently when they know. Some only see the money, not us." Jake let out a slow breath. It all made sense now. The designer coats, the polished sedan, the refined manners. He felt a sting of shame for letting his suspicions color his first impression. "I'm not sure what to say," he admitted. "You don't have to say anything," Amanda said softly. "You treated us like people, not like daughters of a rich man. That's rare." Before Jake could respond, the sound of tires crunching on wet pavement drew their attention. A long, black limousine pulled up beside them. Out stepped a tall man in a perfectly tailored suit, his presence commanding even in the drizzle. Richard Callahan. His sharp eyes scanned the scene before landing on his daughters. "Amanda, Samantha." His voice carried the weight of both authority and relief. The twins rushed to him, embracing tightly. Jake stood awkwardly by his truck, suddenly feeling small, invisible. The billionaire pulled back, his gaze hardening. "What on earth were you thinking? Stranded in a storm in this neighborhood?" "You could have been," he stopped, noticing Jake for the first time. Amanda quickly stepped forward. "Father, this is Jake. He's the one who helped us. He gave us shelter, food, even fixed the car." Richard's eyes narrowed as he studied the man before him. Jake, with his worn jacket, callous hands, and weary face, was everything Richard was not. But there was no mistaking the sincerity in his daughters' voices. "You helped them?" Richard asked, his tone clipped. Jake shifted uncomfortably. "Anyone would have. They were freezing. I just did what I'd want someone to do for my kids." For a long moment, Richard said nothing. His piercing gaze seemed to weigh Jake's soul. Then, unexpectedly, his expression softened just slightly. "Not everyone would have," Richard said finally. "Most wouldn't even open the door." The twins looked at their father, hope shining in their eyes. Richard straightened, his voice steady. "Come to my office tomorrow, Jake Sullivan. We need to talk." Jake's heart stumbled in his chest. "Sir, No excuses," Richard interrupted. 9 o'clock. Callahan Tower. Don't be late." And with that, the billionaire ushered his daughters into the limousine. The car pulled away, leaving Jake standing in the rain, stunned. The next morning, Jake found himself in the grand marble lobby of Callahan Tower, dwarfed by its sheer opulence. He felt painfully out of place, like a worn puzzle piece forced into the wrong box. Yet, the receptionist greeted him by name and escorted him to the top floor. Inside, Richard Callahan sat behind a massive mahogany desk, skyline sprawling behind him. Amanda and Samantha were there too, their smiles encouraging. Richard gestured for Jake to sit. "You don't know me," Richard began, "but I know men. I've dealt with thousands, liars, opportunists, schemers. But my daughters, they speak of you differently. They say you helped them without hesitation, without thought of reward." Jake shifted uncomfortably. "I didn't do it for anything. I just His voice broke. I just saw my kids. Richard's eyes narrowed. Tell me about them. So Jake did. About Sophie's laugh, Danny's curiosity, the heartbreak of losing them to divorce, the endless grind to stay afloat. He spoke with raw honesty, voice cracking, tears threatening. The room was silent when he finished. Finally, Richard leaned back, steepling his fingers. A man who sacrifices everything for his children is a man I can trust. He paused and added, I'm offering you a position in my company. Not charity, a chance. I need men who value loyalty and family, not just profit. Jake's breath caught. You'd give me a job? Richard's lips curved faintly. Not just a job, a future. Amanda and Samantha beamed. For the first time in years, hope surged through Jake's chest. He wasn't just a man drowning anymore. Someone had thrown him a lifeline. He looked Richard in the eye, voice steady. I won't let you down. Richard nodded firmly. I know you won't. And in that towering office, Jake Sullivan's life began to change, not through luck, but through kindness, through one choice on a stormy night to open his door when no one else would.